Seeing as the MCU and the DCEU are some of the biggest franchises of all time, is it any surprise that there has been some crossover between the two properties? And when I say crossover, unfortunately, I don't mean that the movies actually cross over, although seeing Batman take on Spider-Man would be epic. But we mean times that MCU actors have appeared alongside DCEU stars in a movie, because, let's face it, both franchises have basically cast every actor under the sun.
Assemble.
So, let's take a look at 10 or so times MCU and DCEU actors shared the screen together. Margot Robbie blew us all away with her performance in her first DC outing as Harley Quinn in David Ayer's Suicide Squad, and although the film faced negative reviews,
You're ugly.
her performance was so good that it led to her getting her own spin-off movie, Birds of Prey, and another run as the character in James Gunn's upcoming version of Suicide Squad. The same can also be said about her performance as the infamous ice skater Tanya Harding in the movie I, Tonya, and along with co-star Paul Walter Hauser, it's hard to say that her performance wasn't one of the best parts of the movie. But her performance was certainly elevated by her chemistry with her co-star, Sebastian Stan, who played her partner, Jeff, in their troubled relationship. And of course, Stan is probably best known for his performance as Bucky Barnes in the MCU. Another Marvel actor in the form of Bobby Cannavale also makes an appearance. But quick side note, who kinda wants to see a Harley Quinn and Winter Soldier series, huh? I know I do. Robbie also starred alongside another Marvel legend, Samuel L. Jackson, in The Legend of Tarzan, and she was of course featured in The Wolf of Wall Street alongside Jon Bernthal and Jon Favreau, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with Kurt Russell, The Big Short, which starred Christian Bale, who will be Gore in Thor: Love and Thunder, and will be sharing the screen again with Bale as well as Zoe Saldana in an upcoming David O. Russell project. Stan, on the other hand, he featured in Devil All the Time, which not only starred Spider-Man himself, Tom Holland, but the Batman himself, Robert Pattinson. Seeing as Knives Out has an unbelievably stacked cast, it's not surprising to learn that there is both an MCU and a DCEU actor in their ranks. We are, of course, talking about Captain America himself, Chris Evans, who played the bratty Ransom Drysdale, and General Zod actor Michael Shannon, who played his ambitious uncle, Walt Thromby, with the two sharing a brilliant scene together. Although, that being said, it wasn't the first time the two featured in the same movie, with them also appearing in The Iceman. The movie also featured Catherine Langford, who was originally supposed to be in Endgame until her scene was cut, but let's face it, we surely won't be waiting much longer to see both Ana de Armas and Lakeith Stanfield in either the MCU or the DCEU, now will we? Evans also starred alongside DCEU actress Mary Elizabeth Winstead in Scott Pilgrim, while Shannon appeared with Mysterio actor Jake Gyllenhaal and soon-to-be recycled in the MCU Quicksilver, Aaron Taylor Johnson, in the movie Nocturnal Animals, which also starred Lois Lane actress Amy Adams. Other than the MCU and the DCEU, the Fast and Furious movies are one of the most successful franchises of all time, and while Vin Diesel, who of course provides the voice of Groot in the MCU, has been there for the long haul, the franchise has added a lot of famous faces along the way. One of those faces is Gal Gadot, who, let's face it, is best known for her role of Wonder Woman in the DCEU. Other MCU and DCEU actors in the Fast franchise include Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who will be playing Black Adam, Hobbs and Shaw actor Idris Elba, who of course played Heimdall in the MCU, and will be playing Bloodsport in the Suicide Squad. John Cena, who will be playing Peacemaker, also is about to show up in F9. Kurt Russell, who played Ego, of course plays Mr. Nobody. And then, of course, Helen Mirren, who will be playing Hespera in the Shazam sequel, and Scott Eastwood, who played Lieutenant GQ Edwards in Suicide Squad, all showed up in the Fast and Furious franchise, and that's just naming a few. Although, I have to say, I'd love Jason Statham to play Bullseye at some point. That's dreamcasting right there. Over his long career, Ben Affleck, aka Batfleck, has managed to appear alongside many acclaimed actors, which means that he has performed with many MCU stars. Of course, his long-standing writing partner and close friend, Matt Damon, appeared as fake Loki in Thor Ragnarok. but he also has appeared alongside Oscar Isaac, who will be playing Moon Knight in Triple Frontier, Jeremy Renner in The Town, Vin Diesel in Boiler Room, Sam Jackson in Changing Lanes, Anthony Mackie in Runner, and alongside the voice of Rocket Raccoon, Bradley Cooper in the rom-com He's Just Not That Into You, which also featured another MCU actor, Scarlett Johansson. Oof, crossovers abounds. Now, speaking of crossovers, we're excited to discuss a crossover we're doing with the amazing Skillshare, who have kindly sponsored this video today. Skillshare is an online learning community with hundreds of classes which are perfect for creative and curious people looking to learn new skills. Whether you're looking to develop an already existing interest, learn a new skill completely, or just want to get lost in a world of pure creativity, Skillshare is the place for you. For instance, one class that I loved was YouTube Success, Script, Shoot, and Edit with MKBHD, which was taught by YouTube influencer Marques Brownlee. I really enjoyed Marquez's personable and engaging way of teaching, how he connected and related to me as a person, and how he inspired me to elevate my content. Marquez's meticulous research, passionate viewpoint, and carefully crafted production structure introduced me to a fascinating view of video production and taught me a new way to look at creating and sharing content. And for my aspiring YouTubers out there, I'd highly recommend checking out his class. There are also many other classes you can take and skills you can learn. Whether you want to become more productive, challenge yourself creatively, connect with other members in your community, grow internally, or even just fight off the boredom, Skillshare is the place for you to keep on learning and growing as an individual. So, we are also excited to offer the first 1,000 of our subscribers to click the link in the description a 1-month free trial of Skillshare so you can start exploring your creativity today. Alright, back to this list thing. The LEGO Movie is known for its meta humor, and this was taken to new heights in the sequel LEGO Movie: The Second Part, and its casting of Aquaman with Jason Momoa voicing the Atlantean. As you know, Momoa plays the character in the DCEU as well, so it was great to see him reprise the character in LEGO form. I'm glittery! Alongside Guardians of the Galaxy actor Chris Pratt. Little Ryan George reference for you there, so you don't hate my voice as much.
Did you barbecue a rat?
Who plays Emmett in the movie. Although Wonder Woman does appear in the film, unfortunately she wasn't voiced by Gal Gadot, but she was played by Maria Hill actor Cobie Smulders, who had been linked for the role of Wonder Woman for some time. RDJ will probably want us to forget the movie Dolittle, very bad. But unfortunately for Mr. Downey Jr., we just can't.
Get away from me.
But as well as putting RDJ alongside other MCU actors such as Tom Holland and Kumail Nanjiani, the movie also had the voice of a DCEU actor and Invisible Man, John Cena, who, as we mentioned earlier, will be playing Peacemaker. The movie also has the voice of Marion Cotillard, who was in The Dark Knight Rises, although that isn't a part of the DCEU. But it does give me the opportunity to show you this awful death scene. Ah, that editor was having a bad day. Amy Adams has many great roles under her belt, with one of them being linguist Louise Banks in Denis Villeneuve's sci-fi movie Arrival. The movie found the DCEU star Adams sharing the screen with two MCU actors, Forrest Whitaker and Hawkeye himself, Jeremy Renner. Adams also had a crossover with other MCU actors in Spike Jonze's movie Her, which featured Scarlett Johansson and Chris Pratt, although she also had some DC actors in there too, with Kristen Wiig and Joaquin Phoenix, although it is unclear whether or not Phoenix's Arthur Fleck is part of the DCEU, or possibly part of Robert Pattinson's Batman universe, or just his own series, what with the sequel coming out now, I don't know. It's confusing.
You can say that again, pal.
Like comic books, actually. It's honestly, these movies are getting really close to their source material, because I can't figure these out either.
And always remember, that's...
Henry Cavill feels like he was born to play the role of Superman and at the moment has felt really underutilized in the DCEU. Luckily for us, we have had generous doses of Henry Cavill in the likes of The Witcher, Mission Impossible Fallout, and The Man from U.N.C.L.E., as well as starring alongside Lara Croft herself, Alicia Vikander, who I'd love to see in the MCU or the DCEU, doesn't matter, just put her in one. Man from U.N.C.L.E. also featured Elizabeth Debicki, who plays Aisha in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and the upcoming third installment. Out of all these actors on this list, the big screen flash, Ezra Miller, is probably the one who has shared the screen with the most MCU actors, other than Batfleck, of course. Miller appeared alongside Captain Marvel villain Jude Law in the Fantastic Beasts sequel, Crimes of Grindelwald, as well as Captain Marvel herself, Brie Larson, in the movie Trainwreck, which also featured the Ancient One, Tilda Swinton. And also John Cena. Miller also starred alongside Ant-Man, Paul Rudd, in Perks of Being a Wallflower, and alongside Tilda Swinton, once again in We Need to Talk About Kevin. He will also be starring alongside the great Michael Keaton in the upcoming Flash movie, and other than playing the DC hero Batman and the parody Birdman, played the villain Vulture in Spider-Man: Homecoming. Chris Hemsworth might be best known now for his role as Thor in the MCU and the owner of our hearts, but before he got his big break as the God of Thunder, Hemsworth had a small role in the 2009 Star Trek movie, where he played Kirk's dad, George Kirk. Captain Kirk himself was of course played by another Chris Pine, who has appeared as Steve Trevor in the Wonder Woman movies. The movie also stars other MCU actors, Zoe Saldana, Karl Urban, and the 2003 Hulk, Eric Bana. Before we go, we just wanted to mention some of the actors to appear in both the DCEU and the MCU, including Idris Elba, Taika Waititi, Djimon Hounsou, Zachary Levi, J.K. Simmons, Lawrence Fishburne, and Scoot McNairy, just to name a few.
No, sorry. I still don't get it.